Hello, welcome to my channel. Be sure to like, comment, share, and subscribe. So let's jump right into it, honey. It has been officially a week and 2 days since the alleged brouhaha between Usher and Chris Brown, honey. We still don't know all the facts. We still don't know, much detail, but what we do know, you will from now on refer to Usher as Dr. Usher Raymond the Fourth. Okay, honey? He has so much has happened in the span of a week and 2 days. It's like, wow. But when it originally hit the fan, it was like I woke up to it. Like Breezy's birthday was that Friday the 5th. I woke up to it that morning the 6th, which was also Lovers and Friends. It was like, oh my goodness, he has a broken nose, broken ribs. He's gonna still pull through for his fans. It was like, what? Usher had not addressed it. Chris Brown didn't address it. We didn't know what the heck was going on. I kept refreshing my page. Is this real? Is this a hoax? What's going on? Then video footage of like a conversation of Breezy saying F her. That's all we knew. Okay. That's all we saw. And I'm like, hold up. No footage of the actual quote unquote alleged brawl. I mean, we have video footage of Takeoff's final hours, XXX Tentacion and his final. And it was just like, I have not watched those videos, but they exist, unfortunately. And now you're telling me that we could not see one video of Chris swinging, nothing, Usher ducking, nothing? I was like, nah, this could not have happened. But what brought fear to me and most of the fans was the fact that, wait a minute, they're not denying it. They're not laying the rumor to rest. And I was like, hold on, it's midday, my time, and a public statement from either camp said no PR people said anything. I was like, oh no, see, something is wrong. We don't know if it happened or not, but something is wrong, because you would have, it reminded me of like when the situation with Kevin Samuels happened. I was like, wait a second. It's over 4 hours, 5 hours. Nobody from his team has said he's okay, that it's a rumor. Like there's certain rumors, like especially like with rumors of death, certain things you want to address in less than 24 hours. So I was like, they're not saying anything. So I said, okay, I guess we're going to have to see if he performs at the Lovers and Friends festival. Fast forward, Usher comes out like, they said I got 2 black eyes. Where they at though? T.I. energy. Okay. And I was like, okay, they're not going to address it. Okay. Chris still performed, Usher did his thing. And then it later came out, Usher performed the party song, We Know How to Party, with Tiana Taylor in his audience jamming. So everybody is kind of like, well, of course Breezy would perform because he's under contractual obligation. And then people are like, oh, well, if Tiana dances his song and Usher is still performing his song, then all is well. But I'm thinking to myself, if y'all saying it's a contractual agreement that Breezy is still performing, then Usher is not going to change his entire set in less than 24 hours. If that song was already rehearsed, it was already going to happen. Of course, he's going to still play that song. Like, you're going to cut half of your performance because of something. So, you know what I'm saying? I just feel like it's just giving the show must go on at this point. So I see both sides. But then Kanye West dropped out of Coachella. So if Chris Brown wanted to drop out of Lovers and Friends, I think he would have. And if Usher wanted to kick him off, he could have as well. But maybe people are saying the check has already cleared. So maybe that's why. So all the speculation of business had to go on. But there's certain things that I wanted to address specifically that I have not really heard a take on it. So a lot of people that are on Team Breezy, they are in agreement with Chris Brown's actions. They're saying, you know what, if the situation with Tiana did happen, they're alleging that she backed out of the AMA performance, or she was one of the creative directors. She didn't fight hard enough so that he can do the tribute child. We don't know. All in all, people are saying serves her right to get yelled at, serves her right. Why would you even show up at the party knowing y'all have bad blood? That didn't make sense to me. If you know that you don't get along with someone, y'all haven't really squashed and there's tension, me, myself, personally, I would not show up at your party. I would not show up at your party. The Usher board is saying, well, how do we even know that Usher knew that they were beefing? He hosted this event. He threw the birthday party at Floyd's skating rink. So it's just kind of like, maybe he didn't even know that. It was just, they're mutual friends. They've known each other for years. Tiana and Chris are supposedly best friends. Well, Tiana claims to be, like, he may be the godfather of her firstborn. So it's just kind of like, she's in town already. Why not just come? That's what is kind of being said. Now, if Usher knew good and well they were beefing, and he was on some Love and Hip Hop, let's reconcile at the party, it's not going to be a big deal, then he was dead wrong for that. Now, we don't know. That's one thing it just grinds my gears. Like when I used to watch Basketball Wives and when I used to watch Love and Hip Hop, where these people would invite the ops to the party. And, we haven't talked in 3 years and she stole my man and I hate her, but I'm going to just go to the party because Monique invited me. Like, it never made any sense on the person that was actually going to show up and the person inviting. It's like always like they're usually catching somebody off guard. They're blindsided and it's just kind of like they want a kumbaya moment for the cameras. It never worked. That never works. I don't know. I feel like Usher's intentions may have been pure. If that was the case, it may have been pure. It may have been innocent, but it would have been a bad move if he was trying to make that a situation in that moment. That might not have been the best thing. Either way, did Usher deserve to get decked for that? Absolutely not. Did he deserve to get jumped? I don't believe that's what happened. Absolutely not. And I also think that if that were the case, Usher was giving Chris Brown way too much credit. Usher was giving Chris Brown way too much credit in regards to like his maturity. He'll be able to like just squash the beats as soon as they see each other. You know what I'm saying? And also too, maybe Usher may have been in denial about Chris Brown. You know what I mean? Because they have this big brother, they have a bromance. And I love bromances so much. Like, I love bromance, especially between Black men. I love bromances. And I've been following this bromance for such a long time. And Usher's always singing Chris Brown's praises. He's always bigging him up. He's, just called him a legend, an icon, the great, all this stuff at his residency. And then on the Big Boy interview, he was just saying like, I don't just like Chris Brown's music. I love Chris Brown's music. And so they have a certain relationship where maybe he thought, he'd never see the day that Chris would react like that to him. Based on the little video clip, he wasn't cussing at Usher. He was cussing at allegedly Tiana. So he wasn't saying F you, Usher. He was saying F her. That's the energy that I was gathering. But who's to say what happened? They said he left. Usher chased him down. They went on the charter bus or behind the charter bus. And that's where all the situation, or his tour bus. And that's where all the commotion came down that we still don't have footage for a week and 2 days out. We still don't have this imaginary brawl footage. Okay. I think Usher really was giving Chris all this credit, like thinking that he would be able to at least do a united front, or he was also caught off guard and he didn't know that they had tension between them. And he was trying to be the peacemaker and trying to fix the situation. Like, you just gonna tell this woman to leave in the middle of the party, leave her stranded outside. Of course she probably could have gotten some transportation home, or she drove. I don't know. But it's just not good taste. And I feel like Usher is a gentleman. I saw, the footage of him hit the commencement. It was three of them. It was someone walking in front of Usher. Usher was in the middle and there was a woman behind them. They all three of them got on that stage. Usher pulled out it was a gentleman in front of Usher. Usher pulled out that woman's chair behind him so she can sit. I'm not saying Usher is perfect, okay? He has his confession history, even though that was Jermaine Dupri's situation. But Usher has had, I'm not trying to paint Usher to be a saint here, as far as like, he's had his hangups with women, you know what I'm saying? But I'm just saying like the logistics and the optics. Usher seems to be a gentleman. Okay, that does not go for the reputation that Chris Brown has built for himself over the years. So it wouldn't be like anything off of Chris Brown's nose to just kick a woman out in the cold, the Las Vegas nights, to just have her stranded outside. He don't care. So Usher, I'm thinking he's like, why would you kick a woman out for her to be outside, trying to figure stuff? No. I think that's what it also was. And then he didn't want Chris to leave because it's your party. Like, this is for you. People came out to see you. You know what I mean? Like, that's just not, why would you leave? So, or I don't want you to leave upset. So he's trying to maybe apologize to Chris, I'm thinking, or just try to rectify the situation. And so Team Breezy is like, well, he was drinking. Probably some substances were involved. He wasn't in his right mind. People get drunk and go off. People get drunk and fight or whatever. Usher should have let him cool off and not chase him out. I could see that. Maybe the boundary was, I can't contain myself and I need space. Maybe Chris Brown didn't have the language to tell Usher that, and he just rushed off so that he can just gather himself, because maybe he just doesn't have the tools to articulate himself while he's in that heated state. And maybe Usher should have respected that. Okay. You know what I mean? I'm being objective and I'm seeing all the other sides, but nobody can convince me that whatever side it was on, that Chris had merit to punch or harm or hit or do any of that to Usher. Like, I don't care how y'all slice and dice it, what angle y'all put it on. That type of reaction and behavior to a mentor, a brother, or whatever, I don't think it was warranted. And he could not compose himself in that moment to say, this is not the time nor the place, but I'm going to catch you at the house. He didn't have that in that moment to do. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's where I felt like Usher may have given Chris Brown way too much credit to pull it together for the party. Now let's talk about this. The fact that Usher has not come out to dispel this rumor, to say this is absolutely ridiculous, none of this happened. Chris Brown has not, because Chris Brown will vouch for himself. If nobody else, he will say this happened, this did not happen. He's going to say they both are like mum's the word. They're not saying anything. Chris Brown needed to address a video that came out not even 24 hours after, the skating rink situation. There's a video out where they're literally trying to restrain him and all that. So he had to come out and say, no, security was pretty much doing their job and my child was back there and I needed to intervene. But he never said the Usher brawl with me was absolutely false. So I feel like they made a pact with each other not to address it. And I think Chris Brown is respecting it. I think it's out of respect for Usher, and I might be giving Chris Brown too much credit as well. I don't think he cares about his reputation at this point. I mean, maybe the day after Lovers and Friends, he posted this Bernie Mac clip talking about, if people don't like you, F them, you gonna be yourself type of thing. So he's doubling down on, I'ma be me. I don't know if it was slight to Usher or slight to whoever is hating on him. I don't know. But he has not given subliminal shade to Usher. He has not addressed it or anything like that. And I'm thinking it's out of respect for Usher. I don't think he wants, if the relationship is on the rocks right now, I don't think he wants to add salt to the wound. I don't think he wants to make matters even worse. And so that's why he's not saying anything, because Chris Brown, he doesn't really care. I remember like when Kanye West didn't put him on an album. This is supposed to be a friend, a mentor, a colleague, whatever. And he was ripping Kanye West apart for not including him. Like, Chris Brown has cussed people out for less. He don't care who's older. He don't care what's happening. And he's not taking this approach with Usher. And I feel like he's using a lot of restraint not to exonerate himself, not to like, clear his name. And I'm like, why wouldn't you clear his name? Clear your own name at least. But my homegirl is like, he's not clearing his name because something happened. It might not have been the jumping, but something probably happened where he can't, if he said nothing happened, it would be a lie. And I was like, ooh. And then I don't want to believe that Chris, I don't care how intoxicated he was, I just don't want to believe that Chris hit Usher. I just don't want to believe it. But it clicked for me. Who would have thought that we would have lived to see the day that Will Smith would have walked up on that Oscar stage and smacked the mess out of Chris Rock? We would have never thought it, but it happened. If it wasn't caught on camera, we wouldn't have believed it. So who's to say that, him being intoxicated, allegedly, that something didn't happen. So, but I do realize Usher he doesn't deal with scandal well in the public eye. He does things behind the scenes. When the whole T-Pain situation hit the fan, that T-Pain said that Usher told him he ruined music because of autotune, I'm paraphrasing. He said T-Pain was like, he reached out to Usher saying, hey, I did an interview that, hey, just letting you know, we may not be friends after this, but it's going to come out. And so they never got to talk about it. It came out. Usher got all this backlash. And T-Pain was still trying to reach out. And he texted him, hey, I see you see all the stuff that's going on right now. That was not my intention. I tried to warn you, but I couldn't get a hold of you, this and that. He said Usher did respond and said, okay, let's not text. Let's talk in person. He was like, we still didn't, meet up or whatever the case may be. And I think it so happened that they both were at an event together. T-Pain grabbed the mic and was like, hey, it's all love, blah, blah, blah. They hugged it out. But I don't know if they talked before he grabbed the mic. Like, I don't know what that space was, but Usher did not go back and forth via text with T-Pain. He wanted to speak in person. I just felt like T-Pain handled that whole situation wrong. It's his story. He has the right to tell the story. But you had 4 years. He said he was in depression for 4 years over what he said. You had 4 years to bring this up to this guy. I think he's in Atlanta too. I don't know where T-Pain lives, but I'm pretty sure that within that 4 years, they may have bumped into each other, right? The first time you address this situation is in an interview publicly, and you didn't tell him about how his words impacted you. And now you trying to rectify the situation after the fact. I just felt like, no, I think he should have went to Usher first to talk it out, squash it. And then if you're going to talk about it, you know what I mean? It's out there now. But now you trying to salvage, our friendship is going to be ruined over this. I don't know. It just was all bad. But I say that to say the fact that T-Pain wanted to text and try to figure it out, and Usher was like, no, let's talk in person. So it's just like, you know what I mean? But he was doing Vegas residency. Of course, life was happening. You know what I mean? So they didn't get to have that conversation. But it's just like, listen, Usher's not leaving a paper trail for you to post on social media later. There's no cameras, no trace or nothing. Like his camp is low key airtight, like Beyonce's camp. Things get out here and there with Beyonce too, but they work hard. Okay, but it seems like Usher's camp works harder. You know what I mean? Because he's not addressing it. I think like the whole Beyonce elevator thing. Beyonce never made a statement about the elevator, none of that, until she dropped it in a song. You know what I mean? So I don't know if we'll ever get the details or the tea on this situation, but I just want to hone in on this. Like, why is Usher protecting Chris Brown? Because at first I was hearing like, I was like, it's like he's protecting him. He's saying everything is okay without saying everything is okay. That's why he showed his face. The little bit that Chris Brown did tell us, he was like, y'all been geeking all weekend. as in y'all been hyping stuff up all weekend. Y'all been quote unquote making stuff up all weekend. However you can interpret geeked to be. So it is quite interesting that, and I don't know if he deserves that. It gives me one-sided. Like, Usher's always the one bragging about him, calling him a legend, talking well of him. I have seen, Chris Brown tell Usher he was invited to Usher's surprise party. He was like, I love you. He was saying, I love you to Usher. Every time, they're in town, he finds his way to Usher, right? Maybe he's not that guy with words. Maybe Chris Brown is an action guy. Maybe behind the scenes, every time, they're wearing matching shoes, they're on each other's. Usher is featured on multiple Chris Brown records. You get what I'm saying? So maybe the love is maybe it's like what's understood don't need to be explained. Maybe it's not a verbal thing. And he shows his love in other ways to Usher. But for Usher, it's verbal. Like, I love you, da da da. But I have heard Chris Brown say to Usher, I love you, on videos and stuff like that. So I don't know. I just feel like maybe Usher's a bit more invested than Chris. I don't know. But Chris does give me a passionate guy. When Usher was saying how much he loved Chris Brown on stage and how amazing and all this stuff, Chris wanted to break the conversation, and he was like, give me a hug, I'm gonna cry. So he, you know what I mean? So maybe the words may not be Chris Brown's strong suit, maybe he's showing love. I don't want to discredit him at all, but I was just like, dang, like, he's not your friend, Usher. Like, because people are like, maybe he sees Chris as competition because they keep pitting them together to do a versus. And my friend was like, maybe Chris Brown is biting the bait because the fans keep trying to pit them together. Lil' Kim, she bit the bait. People were trying to pit Lil' Kim against, Nicki Minaj. She was copying her style. Absolutely. They literally repackaged and tried to make Nicki like another Lil' Kim. It was true. But she bit the bait, and it made it seem like Kim was the hater, but she was just trying to defend her legacy. But now, Nicki Minaj, you have all these little Nickis running around, and you're the quote unquote bitter one. You know what I mean? So for this particular case, if something did go down and they do patch it up, and I would hope it wasn't as bad as TMZ painted it out to be, and they could just work through this and get over it. But if something did, if he did was hitting Usher and acting crazy with him, man, I don't know if he really deserves, that type of protection. You know what I mean? I don't know if he deserves that type of protection if the feeling is not mutual, like the same energy, and everybody shows love differently. And he probably was apologetic after the fact. Time will only tell, or whatever the case may be. But if it is a one-sided and Usher's more invested in this bromance than Chris Brown is, because Chris Brown sees him as competition, then I don't think he deserves the protection. I don't think so. Cause it's just like, even when you look at his page after the whole Vegas residency, and Usher had called him like legend and all this other stuff, Chris Brown posted a picture of him and Usher, and then he archived it a few days later. And I was like, where's the picture? You know what I'm saying? And I'm like, why did you archive it or delete it? But then Pharrell, something in the water thing, he has all these pictures up with Pharrell and Big Bro and stuff like that. So I'm just like, why? And then he did post videos from Lovers and Friends and everything. He did not thank Usher. Everybody else, thank you for having me, Usher. Thank you for having me. Chris Brown just was like, thank you, Lovers and Friends. This man threw you a birthday party. No, he didn't post any pictures from the birthday party. He did not thank Usher for the opportunity publicly, and he didn't tag Usher in any pictures. So I was just kind of like, maybe that's intentional, because Usher didn't post anything with Chris Brown either from the weekend either. So maybe that's intentional. So I don't know. But what y'all think? Is Usher protecting Chris Brown, do you feel like the friendship is a mutual friendship, or is it more so like mentor trying to protect student, or big bro trying to protect little bro type of thing? Do you feel like Usher was blindsided? He was caught off guard. He didn't know there was beef, between them. Like, what are your thoughts? Was this a Love and Hip Hop? Let's reconcile. Y'all, we're gonna have to find out on the next Dragon Ball Z. I don't know. But what are y'all? Oh, child, I forgot about his speaking of Dragon Ball Z, the son, Usher's son done posted, he was trolling honey, and he posted like an anime reference and everything like that. So y'all, I don't know if we'll ever know what happened, but only time will tell. We'll see. They can't hide from this forever. They're gonna have to do an interview. Well, Usher does more interviews than Chris. So Usher's going to have to talk about this. We'll see how when Chris Brown's name is mentioned, we'll see Usher's body language. We'll see what he says. And if Chris Brown is interviewed first, we'll see Chris Brown's body language, and we'll see what he says. You know what I mean? So we're going to piece this together eventually. You know what I mean? Usher's birthday's coming up, September? Will Chris Brown get an invitation? Do we have to wait? Oh my gosh, do we have to wait till September? Is it September? Y'all, Usher boy, y'all correct me. I think he's a, Libra, so gotta be probably I think September-ish. But the way Chris Brown is handling the aftermath is very out of the normal. Chris Brown would have said, I didn't do it. Don't play with me. Or, yeah, mind y'all business. He's not going back and forth with Usher online. He's none of that. And Usher is not a back and forth type of dude either. So what y'all think? Let me know. Let me know in the comments. What y'all thinking? Is Chris Brown and Usher, is it a mutual beneficial friendship? Should Usher be covering for him? Is he covering for him? Why not say it didn't happen if it didn't happen? What y'all think? Let me know in the comments, and we're going to chat it out. Alrighty, until next time. Bye.